My name is Neelakaandan. I am now living in Kochi. It's only some 70 kilometers from here. Actually, I am not from Kochi. I am from little bit north, but now last 30-40 years I am in Kochi. Basically, I am an engineer. I was working in a firm, a state firm called Keltron for 30 years, 35 years. Then I am retired. Now I am working as a lawyer. That is my professional background. More than any professional background, I am an activist. From the school days or college days for that matter, I am involved in some movements. When I was a college student, there was a great struggle. That time it is in 1970s, around 40-50 years back. That time in Kerala, we had a struggle. I don't know whether you heard. Silent Valley. There is a place called Silent Valley in Palghar district where there was a proposed dam for electrical energy. So there were people. I was quite young. I was reading and just joining the group. That's all. There were a lot of people who were worried about environment at that time. Actually, in many places, after coming the dam only, they will have a problem, something like that, land acquisition. Here it's not that. Silent Valley is the pristine forest. And so it is called Silent Valley because there is no sound there. Not just sound means this, what do you call it? A cricket. There is no cricket there. So it's a pristine forest. So that was the first encounter for me with the state or on the environmental issues. Then in 1990s only, we had the real struggle to protect the environment started that way, basically. There were some issues, small issues, some pollutions. There was one issue near Calicut. There was a river polluted by Gwalior Rands. It's a Birla company, which was highly polluted, and there were struggles. Mostly independent people. There was not a big groups. Not like, because environment was not a concern for many of the people at that time. Development was the concern. In 90s and after 90s, last 30 years, it changed the whole scenario. Now, environmental issues are, actually we all know, you are all coming from different parts. Whether it is in Kashmir or Jharkhand or Chhattisgarh or Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, anywhere, it's all same. The high destruction of environment, you might have discussed these issues earlier. I am not going into the details of whatever I know. I am part of National Alliance of People's Movement, NAPM. I know Krishnakant and all much before I am coming here. So many of the people. So Medha Patkar and that group I am associated. So I know little bit about different states getting reported from Gujarat or Narmada I visited many times. Jharkhand I come once for the Jadugoda mining area. Because my work started as an atomic engineer, nuclear engineer. That was my first job after getting that, my degree in Baba Atomic Research Center. So I am interested in nuclear, so anti-nuclear. So that's why I went to Jadugoda, many places like that. So anyway, what is the present scenario all over India? Because you are almost all representation from India. So I'm very happy to communicate with you because different experiences we are getting. But one common thing is everywhere, it is the natural resources versus the state. That is the common thing. What happened to the natural resources? You might have discussed who is the owner of the natural resources, how we can get the ownership. I was just talking to Krishnakant. I was told to talk on constitution. As a lawyer, what I feel is, now constitution is like a holy book. It's a holy book. Everybody will say it's a holy book. The advantage of being called it holy book means you can obey it, you can disobey it. There's no problem. You cannot say that Bhagavad Gita should be followed by everybody. I'm not saying Bhagavad Gita is a holy book, it is considered. Or Bible is a holy book. Or Quran is a holy book. All right. But you cannot follow everything in that, no? It's of your convenience you select this. Your convenience you select this. So same thing happening to constitution. That is a very general statement, but that is what is happening here. Constitution is actually law is the basic of any society, any developed society. Without a law, we cannot live. Starting from Rousseau, he says law is a we are all decided to join with the law. We decide to follow the law. A society decides to follow the law, then only the law is valid. If everybody agrees to a constitution, then only the constitution is valid. Otherwise, it is not valid. So, what happens now? Our constitution is really great. You cannot say that in words. If you say one of the best constitution in the world, maybe one constitution I have read, maybe little bit higher is South African constitution, which was made very late in 1990s. Even that is formed in a different way. I don't want to say that because people's opinion were taken to make the constitution. That is the first time. What you call you ask franchise, you ask put every clause of the constitution is put for vote to the public. So people will say, yes, this is required, this is not required. The majority is taken. Like capital punishment. That was one issue. Whether capital punishment is there, to be there or not to be there. So the vote was against capital punishment. So capital punishment was. So what I am saying is, that is the only constitution which may be slightly better. Their right to housing is a fundamental right. Right to education is a fundamental right. Like that. In written, here there is not written that right to housing is a fundamental right. Right to occupation is a fundamental right. Not written here in our constitution. But we interpret it. It's actually interpretation of constitution. But there it is a right. Written right. If you don't have a house, it is the duty of the state to give you a house. That is South African constitution. No, otherwise, our constitution is really, really great. It can empower the whole system, everybody, to gain their rights and to allow others to use their right. That is the two things. I take a right and I have a responsibility. Every right is along with a responsibility. But sometimes, what is happening in any place for that matter, I am not saying any constitution is holy or something. Anywhere, there will be aberrations. So, some rights will be denied. Even in Indian constitution, we all know, part 3 of Indian constitution, those who have studied law, they will be clearly knowing it is the fundamental rights. Article 13 to Article 36 something. So, it's all fundamental right. Fundamental right, if any of the fundamental right is violated, you can approach the High Court or Supreme Court. Article 226 and 32. So very clear. If your fundamental right is violated, you can go to the court, you can get it established. So constitution is very powerful that way. If you read it. But what is in practice happening? That's a different thing. Like holy book, I told you. We have holy books, but what is in practice? You need not follow the holy books in practice everywhere. That is exactly what is happening to Indian constitution also. That even Dr. Ambedkar, when in last speech, those who are read it, in his last speech after drafting the constitution, he clearly told that this constitution is really good, but the people who are implementing it, the society, the state, the stakeholders, whether they are empowered for this, whether they are qualified for this, or whether they want it, they need it. Who needs constitution? Who needs law? That's a fundamental question. Everybody don't require law. Who bothers about law? Unless you have a violation, you are a denial of your right, or if you are, the denial of right will come if you have the knowledge of the right. If you don't know your right, then you will borrow, okay, denial of right. There is no question of denial of right. So, what I am saying is, When we come to, it's a very, very broad subject. When we go to human rights, environmental rights, any area we can take, developmental rights, and even your existence, survival, right to survive. Now, right to develop is a different thing. Right to survive is the basic thing for many of the people. So, what is your right to survival? What is your right to development? What is your right to as a citizen of the state? So, actually, law is a relation between citizen and state, citizen to citizen, and it's civil law, criminal law. All are. I'm talking law, not only constitution. All other laws in the country are based on the constitution. If any law you make which is ultra virus, they call it ultra virus, against the constitution, that is illegal. So once you say constitution or law, it's a package. Law from the beginning, then evolved law, the amendments in constitution, different laws applicable to different areas. It's a big package if you take that. Everything together. That is a law. Now, what is our survival rights? Question. They told our fundamental rights you take. You are equal, Article 14, that is the basic thing. You are equal before law. All will have protection of the laws. Equal protection of the laws. You are equal before the law. Me, person from Kashmir, Jharkhand or Manipur, Hindu, Christian, Buddhist, Sikh, Parsi, Isai, all are equal. All are equal. But as George Orwell, I think, said, all are equal, but some are more equal. That is a George Orwell's comment on socialist countries that time. All are equal, but some are more equal. That's a very, very, very interesting comment. Some are more equals means, based on the same constitution, same laws, what is happening in a court? Two parties fighting for their rights, maybe property rights or criminal, whatever it is. They are using the same constitution, no? They are using the same law, same criminal law, same civil law. Then they are fighting. So, most important thing is interpretation of law. That is very, very important. How you interpret a law? Same law you can be interpreted in a different way. So, who can interpret it better? Generally, the powerful can interpret it better. Simple. See, for example, they say all are equal before law. But everybody will be an individual in a democracy. All are different. I have my right, you have your right, you have your right. So you cannot be equal. Just equal in word meaning. You cannot be equal. Nobody is equal that way. All are different persons, isn't it? I hope you are following. So here, once you say you are not equal, then how you differentiate? How your right will be defined? That is why even in the constitution, we have reservation, we have other things, protection of minority rights. All these things are coming because of that. If the Article 14 says all are equal, interesting thing is, when defining the reservation, the protection of marginalized communities, historically driven out communities, or the survival of certain communities, you require reservation, many other things, many other protection. See, for example, minority protection. Protecting minority rights to gain their culture, their education, institution. It's a fundamental right. Article 25, 26, 29, all. I'm not going to, I don't bother about the article number because people who are not familiar with the constitution will be worried. So don't remember that. You get the meaning only. If you don't remember, if you know a law, it's okay, good. Otherwise, it's also no problem. Because for me, article number is not that important. More important is the spirit. The spirit. The spirit of an article or a law will be effective in the interpretation. Interpretation is a class in law for law students. For law students, they know how it will be interpreted. So interpretation will be based on the power. How powerful you have. See, in some courts, we have seen cases, there is maybe small cases, but lawyers from Supreme Court will come and appear for some parties. Generally, when Supreme Court lawyer comes in a lower court, maybe High Court judge will be perplexed. Oh my God, oh, people from, he's coming, so there will be very serious things. So the judge will be biased on that for taking a decision. So that itself is illegal, no? That is against the spirit of constitution. And other influences, political influence, communal influence, financial or commercial interests, all will be there. So what I am saying is, when you say law as a holy book, the problem with the law is this, practical terms. Second thing, implementation. Law is only a book. Should be implemented. So we have criminal laws. Criminal laws are to protect people from criminal offenses. Simple. So you have criminal laws starting from IPC, Indian Penal Code, we all know. Indian Penal Code. Then implementing that Criminal Procedure Code came. Very good. Now there are many additional criminal laws came. Environmental laws. There are Water Act, can be interpreted as a criminal law. Then POXO Act, Women Protection Act, UAPA, that is one thing, protection. Other side, for the state, you have TADA, PODA, and now UAPA. So, what I am saying is, this is all part of criminal package. Which law is used at which point? This is a constitutional question. You are caught in a theft case. You can be charged under UAPA saying that your theft is a challenge to the national security. But under UAPA, you need not be produced before a magistrate at all for many months. 6 months, then it can extend it. First 6 months, then it is extended. There are people under UAPA in the jail for many years without even any trial. But our constitution says free and fair trial. There is an article on free and fair trial. Everybody is has a right to fair trial. But where is the fair trial coming when you are under UAPA? There is no fair trial. So, you circumvent the whole thing, constitution, making special laws. Criminal or civil, whatever, civil will come later. Land acquisition and all other things is separate. But what happens is, so our constitutional rights, it is not as if we read it when it is implemented. So who will be put on a UAPA? What are the criterion? And more than that, actually the protector is not only court. You have legislature making the law. You have executive implementing the law as per our constitution. You have a court which is watchdog of whether there is a violation. And the society, maybe media, maybe public, civil society movements, political parties, all are there. They are another correcting force to a certain extent. But what is happening to that? Say, I'm telling a very simple example. Somebody caught in a case, suspected attack on place. Is a suspected. Depending on his name, the society will decide whether he is a terrorist or he can be a terrorist. Depending on his religion, his place of birth, his relation, his caste in the society. So, where is equality? Article 14 we started, no? By your name, or maybe your family, your caste, religion, your economic status. Oh, he's a poor man, he might have made the theft, no problem. Why rich people cannot be thief? Simple, I'm saying. So who can be a terrorist? Anybody can be a terrorist. Anybody can be a terrorist. So what I'm saying is, overarching everything in the constitution, written law, the social perspective, political perspective, like I'm saying not only this, see development. If you say something development, generally people will say, we need development. We have to be a developed country in 2030. I am hearing it for last 50 years. Every 10 years they will repeat the same thing. India will be a developed country in next 10 years. I am really afraid. India is a developing country. Developed country means I don't want India developed country. We all know now. As it's global warming is a result of many developed countries. So India is also developed country. China is also developed country means what will happen to the earth? It was a famous saying, I think in 90s by Fidel Castro, his speech against globalization that time. His question was, if Indians and Chinese people are using car like American people, for how many days the oil will survive in the world? That time gas was not there, oil. Petroleum, how many days petroleum will survive? How many days? Not even years. Is right? 130 crores from India, 140 crores from China. Average one car per American. 270 crores cars on the world, on the roads. What will happen to the petrol? India and China becoming America, developed country means there will be 5 more America added to the world. Whether the earth can sustain 5 more Americas in the world. Or what I'm saying is, it's not America. So developed means you want to become a developed country like America. I'm saying the model. So what people think, very simple logic, it's not possible. It is not economically possible, ecologically possible. It is financially impossible. It is socially impossible, culturally impossible. India become America. But we make it a perspective. So wherever we go against any ecological destruction or rights of resources, the first thing coming not from the law, but even from the social perspective, it's a development. Why you are against development? You are against development. People like us are always called anti-development. No, I am not worried I am called anti-development. I am anti-development. I am a person of degrowth, not growth. But to whom the degrowth should have, to whom the growth should have. There should be a perspective. That is the difference. Growth to America and degrowth to, even in America, there are growth and degrowths. Not America is not a single body, you know that. So what I'm saying is, when you approach law in a very different perspective, what are the factors affecting the law? How it is affected as an activist or a social student. Not even, you need not be an activist. You can be a student of the social movements or the society. You are just watching the society, sitting in your home or in your library or before your computer. Still you will understand these different aspects of rights or liabilities, whatever responsibilities of the law system, law, including constitution, to any other law related to it. So we can. That's why I'm saying you cannot say law is there, is not a protection to anybody. So as an activist, my vision is to empower as many people as possible to counter this, the counterbalance. It's a very, very tough thing, including social perspective, corruption. I'm not going into that details. Corruption, any developmental project will be a corrupt project. So people who are getting some part of it will be supporting it, obviously. You cannot say that. I'm an official, I'm a politician, I am implementing a government, implementing a development project, I am getting a part of it. Naturally, I will try to support that project and I will say that is a great project and people will be like anything. That even dams, highways, railways or airports, factories, anything, pipelines, all. Mines. So people will say it's a general thing, development. So how we evaluate? There are in world over, we have different systems. You see, for example, environment. We all more concerned about environment. The cost, the value of natural resources. How we evaluate the value of natural resources? Yesterday you went to Thottapalli on mining. You understood. There it is a highly mineral content sand. It's not very highly. If you go to a little bit south, near Koilon district, there's a place called Alapad, where a village which was about 89 square kilometers in 1940s, when India became independent, it was 89 square kilometers. Now that village is only 8 square kilometers. Only because of the mining, mineral sand mining. They mine it. They say we don't mine from the land. What they do? They mine from the sea. So once you see it, it will be eroded. The whole land will be taken. 3 layers of village, village layers were taken away by the sea, eroded. There are temples, there are libraries, even historic monuments. Like a temple, you might have heard of Sri Narayana Guru. A library, Sri Narayana Guru was the Renaissance leader of Kerala. Library. Everything is in water now. People will, there was a market, 2 kilometers in the sea. There was a school where I studied. 60-year-old man or woman can say that I studied in that school. He is living. It's not history or something. Old history. A village becoming 89 square kilometers to 8 square kilometers. So what happens? Who lost the land? Now, people say it's for development. I'm not going to the details, but if you go into the particular case, they are mining 2 minerals. One is monazite and ilmenite. Monazite is used to make thorium for atomic research, maybe atomic research, and atomic power means it is very rare because only one plant in India, that is in Chakalpaka, which is not working also, first breeder, when thorium is converted into uranium. So, because I know, it's all in theory. I studied that theory in 1980, same theory going on now. Nothing is practical. That's okay. Second part is ilmenite. Ilmenite you will be more familiar. It is made to make titanium metal. Titanium is a very costly metal in the world. Titanium dioxide, the white paint, what we use, it's very costly paint. Titanium is a metal, when you extracted it, it can be used even to replace your bone, inside bone. Natural, bone cut or joining that, it is so powerful. So titanium is very costly as a pure metal, but it's not extracted here. What happened is, and it is used many things in electronics. I told bond means that's not the only use. It is used in many other industries. So what happened is, really now, they say it's very costly. When you make it, start the mining, you will say there will be lot of income coming. This whole area will be very prosperous. But what happened to that area? Who became prosperous? What is the fundamental question is, what is the advantage or what is the, how they came forward, whether they went forward or backward after the mining? Who gained it, who lost it? Single. You can see it in mining in Jharkhand or dam in Narmada or missile plant in Odisha, anywhere. Anywhere it's same. What happened to the local people? Fishermen, tribal, or other marginalized, or peasants, Dalits. What happened to the local people? Where are they? Whether it was a development for them, or that it is a degrowth for them. It's not a growth, it's a degrowth for them. Many people, and even the companies, what they are doing now, that is a very interesting, very financial thing. They are not doing anything. There are two companies in the public sector. Why they keep in public sector? Because it's a public sector is another holy cow. Oh, public sector, you cannot question. Because the leftist ideology, what the old leftist. Now it's a different. Public sector is, you cannot. But what happened to that public sector company? They are highly polluting company. People around that company cannot live. That is another thing. They are fighting against the pollution. And what they do is, they are doing only first or second stage cleaning of the sand. See, in any metallurgy, there are different levels of extraction. So every level you increase or the level you go, the cost will be increased. In titanium, it is 10 to 15 times is every time cost increase. Initially it will be less. See, you take the sand, you separate it, then clean it. It's all the initial stage. Maybe some acid added. Then you extract something, rutile, something you make. We are doing only that. Then it's exported. So the titanium or titanium dioxide is not coming from here. That is from some multinational company is taking it. They are bringing it. So all the profit, all the process is not coming here. But the most polluting part of the process is done here. See, you cannot do a plant like that in Japan or in any part of Europe, even in America, because it is highly polluting. So you do it here. The initial cleaning, acid, this thing. Then you export it. So it's a rather clean product. Then the processing is easier. They make it maybe 1 kilo of sand. Here it is 10 rupees. First process may be 100 rupees. Next process may be 1000 rupees. You send it for 1000 rupees. I'm just saying for a calculation. They are bringing it for 3 lakh, 4 lakh rupees. We are buying that, giving 3 lakh, 4 lakh rupees for our purpose. So, the advantage of an industry development, the money even is not gone to the public, the people. So, but we say it's a development. Based on that, there is no rules there, no rules. Violating all rules, they are doing the mining. Even Thottapalli over there, they don't have a mining license at all. No valid mining license at Thottapalli. Where you are seeing hundreds of JCBs are working. There is no mining license. They take it. So when we go to the court, what they say, no? We are not mining. Actually what we are doing, we are removing the sand. For what? For better drainage. You have seen Kuttanadu, that it's a lake, which is lower than sea. Lower level than sea. So, anything happens to that bond, the whole Kuttanadu will be joined with the Arabian Sea. We know it. They are not bothered. But we want Kuttanadu water to come to the sea. It can never come like that. Because Kuttanadu is lower than the sea level. So, what I am saying is that this will say disaster management. They are using disaster management rules. That is another interesting rule. So, to avoid a disaster, they are making much more disastrous projects to make money. So, they are applying disaster management. Once you apply disaster management rule, all other rules can be violated. Mining rules can be violated. Even fundamental rights can be violated because it's a disaster management rule. Central and state we have. So what I am saying is, how our constitution or laws are applied to bypass our rightful laws or our rights that way. Local people. This is happening everywhere. I just told one example since you went there yesterday. That's why I explained that. Now we have laws, positive laws. I call positive, negative. It's a what do you call? It's not absolute. But see, for example, Forest Right Act. You all might have seen Forest Right Act. Something is they are using it. Forest Right Act. It's a good law. It's a good legislation. Because that came after a lot of fights, different places. Some point of time, some rulers were forced to add some positive points in that. Rights of tribals in forest. Actually, there is no rule for it. There is no law required for that. No. It's a historical truth. But now why we became law, that's a totally different thing. Before that, some of your state may be Pesa, tribal area, Jharkhand or many places. Pesa Act, Panchayat Raj extended to areas, tribal areas or forest areas, whatever it is, tribal areas basically. Constitution says that in Northeast, Section 5 and North Section 6, Annexure 6, Annexure 5, great, everything is written. But where this is followed? Where this is followed? Why cannot be followed? Mainly because the people who have the right on that, they are not empowered, they don't know. When they have it, that is why there is a amendment proposed in Forest Area Act and Wildlife Act. Now it is coming because some places people are rising, like Odisha. Odisha was a very good example. Odisha, they fought. You cannot mine on our hills because our God is there. Finally, Supreme Court had to agree. So Supreme Court says you can mine it somewhere, but you cannot change that God. So finally, they won, the tribals, against bauxite mining projects. What I'm saying is, so they want to bypass it. Now dilute the Forest Right Act, dilute PES Act, dilute all other environmental laws. Anyway, they are diluting. You all remember, we all fought against that. Technically stopped it. We don't know, any time it can come up. So, even you have law, every law is that way used for the negative purpose. And if at all there is an obstacle for the development or the extraction of natural resources, they will say, we will change the law. We'll amend the law. So amendment will come. There won't be much question about amendment. Some people will raise. Same thing happening to the coastal area. Nothing different. More severe sometimes. More severe because the environmental condition, the coastal area is more vulnerable than even the forest area. Because of the global warming, sea level rise, coastal erosion, continuously happening. Continuously. Global warming and all, we need not discuss at all. Now we all know. What will happen to the coast? Kerala has around 500, 600 kilometers of coast. Whole Kerala, not only mining. Mining is a small thing compared to in a small area. All other areas, coastal erosion is a common thing. The answer they were telling coastal erosion is putting stones. That's a foolish solution. What will happen is you will put stone. People ask, we want stone, we want stone. Yes, we will put stone. That's also mining from the Western Ghats. Big stones they will bring. In 2-3 years, the stone will go down of erosion. After that, there is no stone. Then again, you bring a stone and put it. Continuous effort. That's a big business. Okay, the corruption part I am leaving. Big business. So you are destroying Western Ghats as well as the coastal. Putting the seawall, stones, what will happen? Even the right of the fishermen to go to the sea will be obstructed. Maybe they have to travel kilometers to go to the sea for fishing, traditional fishermen. One point. Second is, you put seawall for 5 kilometers. So, Baki, the remaining, will have more sea erosion. So, you cannot put all 600 kilometers. Then they say, we have CR set. Law. We all know. Coastal Regulation Zone. It's actually not law, it's a notification. Even now, it's not a law. But it's as good as a law applied. Coastal regulation. If you read coastal regulation notification and you walk through this coastal area, you will be laughing like anything. Where it is followed? It is followed when somebody, not in coast, maybe the other saline water area. This is not only for sea coast. Coastal is for the whole area where sea water is incursion is there, salty water is there. So, a poor man, he goes to build a house, he has only 2 cents of land. No. CR said, you have to be 50 meters away from that sea level, high tide area, but 50 meters will be somebody else's land. How he can construct? No, it's not possible. CR set is a big law. Now you go to the seashore, big buildings, resorts, or hotels may be built there. When you come to your house, make a small house, maybe 2 cents, 3 cents land. The all applications will be denied on CR set. In the country where there is a CR set law, legislation or notification, you will see. In Cochin, maybe 4, 5 years back, there was a great incident discussed all over the world. 4 flats, 32 floor flats were demolished by the Supreme Court order. Total violation of CRC. Total violation. Somebody had to go there and some legal fight. Finally, Supreme Court demolished it. It was a big story cover all over the world, the TV and all, how this will be demolished. And a technical thing. What I am saying is not that. Not legal thing or it's a right thing. So, CR said, the coastal regulation. Now, who is taking the advantage of violation? Who is taking the disadvantage of following the law? So, what I am saying is, this is all very, very rare. The state will act as if these laws are not applicable to, rules are not applicable to high level people. Anywhere you can say, there are hundreds and thousands of violations, even in Kerala. Who had violated? Traditional fishermen need not violate because as per the notification itself, traditional fishermen can have their houses there. They have exception. You cannot remove. Now we come to Vizhinjam. Some of you, I think, Vizhinjam. Total violation. Total violation. Everything violated. How many people are affected? You make port. I don't know whether there will be a port at all. I'm worried there won't be any port. In the name of port, you make it. You use the sea. You fill the sea and make it land. Reclamation. Huge area. Even in Cochin it is done. But I am saying it is done. Here it is backwater. There it is sea. Kutanad also backwater is reclaimed. But here, huge area of sea where tsunami affected drastically that time. And every year there will be coastal erosion. Land is taken. Now you reclaim the land here. On this side, the land will be taken. Poor people are living there. Fishermen living there. But they say, oh, it's a global warming. There are incidences where we could highlight there will be a problem, like Vizhinjam. Now, tomorrow any problem will happen. People all will know. Local people understood almost. But they are helpless. So, anyway, one thing I'll tell you. Only legal solution, there is nothing. There is no legal solution. If you have a people's movement, struggle, social support, media, then you go to the legal, may be successful. Because, as I told, interpreting the law for the powerful, for the advantage of the powerful, will happen in any society for that matter. I'm not saying it will not be. But way forward is, this is way forward. What we are trying. We are sitting together here. We are searching for a way forward. Wherever possible, be in the way. There will be obstacles. There will be problems, different problems. But we are not the end or we are not the beginning. No. History is not ending with me or history is not beginning on after my birth. It is there much before that. Maybe after many generations should be coming here. So it's a search. Any time there will be there. It was there. So we hope for positive. We can do something. That's all I can say. Because there is no single medicine. You can say do this, then you take this medicine. ये खाओ, सब will be ठीक हो जाएगा. There is no medicine like that. For me. Stay order is a problem. Stay order வாங்க முடியாது. Because you go to the court. Courtல போறேன். Courtல போனா அவன் என்ன சொல்லுவேன்? Disaster management law. We want to avoid the disaster to Kuttanadu. Thousands of families in Kuttanadu are in danger. So disaster management. We are not mining. They are not mining. That's the problem. They are dredging. Use another word. Dredging for water flow smooth. How much water is flowing through that? Don't ask. Actually, that is not the way for Kuttanadu to drain. But this is the way for them because the mineral sand is there. So, court, the problem is this. If you go to the court, you cannot do disaster management rules. Because the authority to say whether it is a disaster, the disaster management authority. That is headed by the chief minister or collector. What they will say. So-called experts. All these experts are appointed by them. So whatever they say, this is a disaster. Even see, for example, I am walking. They will say, your walking is a disaster of the state. So you go to jail. Nothing can be done. Disaster management rules. Last 2 months back, some of you are familiar with Kerala might have noticed there was a big fire in Kochi, wasteland. T.S. Eliot's wasteland. So waste dumping yard. 14 days. Plastic and all inorganic things. Burning like anything. Huge fire in the middle of a city. Because they say that fire came in a place where disaster management had taken over the plant 3 years back, thinking there will be fire. So disaster management knows there will be fire for last 3 years from 2020. They taken over it from the corporation. State taken over, disaster management department. Then they cannot control that. They say, oh no, we didn't think that this much fire will come. So they were expecting some fire. Was there a fire engine? No. Was there a road to bring the fire engine? No. So what will happen if there is fire? No, we thought it will be a small fire. A small fire. Then they were selling, very interesting. It's actually stored for many decades, 2 decades almost, 1.5 decades. It stores. There will be organic things in that waste, urban waste. There will be methane. A 8th class student will know. If you dump organic materials below, there will be methane. Methane is highly inflammable. What happened is, once it started burning, the upper layer will go, there will be methane coming up. Then before, another thing, the disaster management experts, they used JCB to turn it out. So what happened is, once you turn it, more methane will come. It is like a gas stove you are keeping and doing something. More methane will come. 14 days. So what is our quality of disaster management? That disaster management is saying that mining in Thotapalli is for disaster reduction. So they are not bothered of that disaster. Yeah. Yes. Adeyada. Exactly. நீங்க சொன்னது ரொம்ப கரெக்ட். இல்ல அரசாங்கம் என்ன சொல்லுவேன்னா அது say this is for development. Any development some people has to suffer, no? All these roads were made taking land from some private people. You are traveling through that road, so you have to suffer, no? அதுதான் எவ்வளவு இருக்கு, 8 வழி இருக்கா, 6 வழி இருக்கா, 6 லைன், 8 லைன், 4 லைன், இதெல்லாம் உங்களோட சாய்ஸ். பட் என்னோட சாய்ஸ் டிஃபரெண்ட். 16 வழி இருந்தா தான் எனக்கு ரொம்ப குஷியா இருக்கும். டென்சிட்டி அதிகமா இருக்கும். அல்ல அங்க இருக்கு, அது ஒவ்வொரு இடத்துல டிஃபரெண்ட். Some places it will be 20%, some places 10%. So going on, it is very high. This area is less. This is only 2.5%, 3%. Some area it will be 0.2%, the mineral content. But what happens? They say we will put back the sand. How you put back the sand into the sea? No use.
What kind of disaster they are forecasting?
They are forecasting a flood in Kuttanadu. You went the area, and Kuttanadu is a very, very specific, unique ecosystem in the world because it's under sea level. Most of the islands are man-made. The paddy fields are man-made. What they do is the clay. They remove the clay from down and put it back and made the paddy lands. So it's very deep. One side, they made it deep. Actually, it's in 60s, 70s, thinking that we want more rice. So we wanted paddy land. So we created paddy land there, and they made it paddy land. Otherwise, it's a very highly varying ecosystem there. In the monsoon, there are 4 rivers coming to that. You can call it a large water tank with 2-3 openings. So what happens is, when the monsoon, the salt level will be very less. So there will be a biodiversity, different type of fishes and all. When the monsoon comes down, the sea will come into it. So actually the shrimp, Kerala is very famous for its shrimp. The shrimp in Kerala is actually grown in Kuttanadu. The seawater will come. It's a shallow water. So they can lay their eggs, maybe 2-3 months, very good. Then when the monsoon, after the monsoon, they will go back. That's why we were getting lot of shrimp from Kerala's coast, lobster, this type of thing. Now one could, you ask the question, Kuttanad, there are many houses, many islands. Every year, 3 times at least, the houses will be shifted. It will be flooded. Your mining sand or not mining sand, nothing to do with that. They say it's a disaster in Kuttanadu in 2018, 2019 and all, high flood in Kerala. You heard of that. So to avoid that disaster, we want a drainage from Kuttanadu. So we make it. That's why I told, they are not mining, they are dredging. They are dredging. They are not mining. That's why they don't want mining permit. Dredging, there is no permit required. After dredging, you have to take it somewhere, no? The sand. So they are taking it. Really? இல்ல எங்க இல்ல ஆனா இவன் என்ன சொல்றேன் இங்க டிசாஸ்டர் இருக்கு இந்த டிசாஸ்டர் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் பண்றதுக்கு dredging தேவை you need dredging because drainage is very important no drainage ரொம்ப important disaster management la flood control la so this is a drainage path spillway interesting thing many of the shutters of that spillway is not opening at all last time when they wanted to open they were not opening it normally no most of them failed there are some shutters always opened that bridge like thing you seen there are some shutters always open there are some shutters never opened but still they say this is a drainage now last year after a lot of struggle they made some shutters okay not all I think some 5 or 6 they local people will be known otherwise it's all not working either totally open totally closed but still they say it's a drainage path and actual drainage from Kuttanad is not coming through that east of there are different canals V channel and all or south near Haripad a place called Haripad and all it has to come from there that's all closed so the flooding is because of not because of this because of the local channels there is a long canal cutting across this old Kuttanadu AC they call the Alapi Changanasheri canal that's all clogged all reclaimed big mansions were made there bridges to every houses across it so it's all they stop the water system in Kuttanad is totally in disaster that is the problem of disaster not because of this drainage but they say this is the reason we go to the court and all even collector what court says no collector can decide whether it's a disaster or not that is the disaster management law says
so I know the conversations are going interesting but please give if other friends also to speak and raise their queries if you have anything we'll just go for another 2 to 3 minutes Rizwan if anybody else, any other friends have any questions queries so we'll take 2-3 questions and then we'll wrap up in 3 to 5 minutes this first session okay
Sir, even in the name of the drainage, there has to be action plan made by irrigation department.
yeah they have an action plan that action plan is
Or not?
a foolish action plan
They made it or not?
no they will have some plan making plan is very simple justify this water flow they will calculate how much water will flow this
For implementing the action plan, they have to train clearance, hazard clearance.
no their clearance is simple what they know they will call disaster management will call irrigation other departments PWD and all they will call sitting together disaster management will say we have to drain maybe 500 cubic meters per second when there is a flood. So 500 cubic meters per second water to flow. What should be the width? What should be the height? That is the only thing. Whether who decides 500 meters, square cubic meters? Nobody knows. There is no data. But nobody questions that. Because they have decided to mine it first. Then they are trying for some plan to mine it. It is not that disaster management is a means, not an end for them. They want, it's using it as a means to mine it. That is simple. We all know. That's why the limitation of the law, I told you.